D9N, pushing gravel. How many pounds do they weigh and how much can he push? Have a look with the drone as well. Cool stuff, eh? Let's have a little more view from the drone. Big old machines. Well, here's an attempt at trying to get a good view of watching the D9 as he is working, pushing gravel and using the ripper to dig around and push deeper. But learning how to fly the drone was also a little difficult. And one of the mistakes I made in this situation is, for some reason, the drone had a distance setting that was defaulted, so I couldn't fly it as far away from the takeoff point as I wanted. But I figured I'd try to get down and get some footage of how to watch the cat when he's ripping and digging without trying to get in the way, because I wasn't sure. I think Kayla was running the cat this day, and I wasn't sure that you could even see the drone, and it would be just my luck I would screw up and fly right in front of the cat and get it ran over or something like that. Anyway, it's amazing. You watch these guys with a pull and rip, digging up all the material, make it work it out loose, and then pushing it with the dozer and stacking it up in there where they're digging enough for crushing. But how much horsepower it takes to dig through pit run like that with the ripper. And I'm not experienced at all on how to run a ripper. You can see that one has 2 sets of hydraulics, and so you can change the angle at which the ripper is being dragged through the ground. I would assume how the more it's pointed in towards the cat or not will change things. And I've seen actually videos of broken ripper shanks, and I'm like, my goodness, that would be a disgusting mess to break one of them off. It'd be horrendous. A mean strain on things to break one of those things. So the D9N, it seemed to me, my research is that they weigh about, is it 100,000 pounds or something like that? I don't know. They're fairly heavy anyway. And these tracks on these things aren't exceptionally wide, but of course the narrower they are, the more traction you have as you're working. Just like on a pickup truck, guys will be thinking wide tires give you more traction, but that's not true. But here I tried to follow further, and this is the first time I discovered that I couldn't fly the drone any further. I wanted to stay right ahead of it or right beside it, and then so I ended up flying the drone behind and then zooming in a little bit just so I could stay a good, could see it a little bit better. And of course you can see the crusher in the background working. So he's pushing all this gravel up and putting it towards the crusher, and then the loader man is digging it out. One question I do have that I've never asked anybody with experience is why not have the ripper facing the other way? Well, here's a little bit of a mess with speed in and out and trying to get a view. Could maybe do better with the drone there. But how come the ripper is going that way? Where if you have to dig and then push, why not have the ripper backwards and then so rip when you're backing up and then push when you're going the other way? I don't know the answer to that one. And a couple days later, I had the chance to fly the drone again, and I tried to get some different angles of him pushing up into the pile, but being inexperienced, I didn't want to get down real low into the ground in front of where the cat is pushing right now, because I could have flown it into a tree behind the drone without paying attention. One of the other things is the higher the elevation when you're looking at stuff, the more like, well, it doesn't look like there's very much of a steep angle, but it's obviously quite steep as he's pushing up there because it doesn't even all fall out of the blade. Anyway, tried to get a little bit of footage of it pushing gravel up into the pile. And then they dug out of there afterwards as well. I could probably slow down the speed on how it looks a little jerky when I go too fast on the editing, but pushes up quite a pile of gravel, and then just at the point you think he can push any more, if you start watching the tracks, he's starting to slide and spin there. So that's the maximum he can push anyway. But from this angle, it looks like he's just pushing on the ground. But then you watch him back up, and the whole pile of stuff stays right on the blade. It doesn't come off because he's sitting at such a steep angle. So then I think I tried to fly the drone down lower to the side just so we could get a better view of how steep it actually was. But I didn't want to get in the way where I could get my drone busted up either. Anyway, they're kind of fun to watch. I don't know if it's everyone's cup of tea to sit and watch a heavy machine work, but I kind of enjoy it. Watching them or using them. Anyway, the rock truck is just bringing in stuff they're digging from somewhere else, and then we're pushing up with the 9 there, and then they'll be digging up with the loader later to run through the crusher. But this is just a quick look at watching the old 9 push. See, there's a better angle there. It shows what kind of angle it is, or a little better at least. And the other thing is you can't actually see what's happening on the front of the dozer because that's all hidden from the operator. Anyway, watching the D9N work from the sky.